No DQ Galaxy, we are live with the AEW Dynamite recap for February the 16th, 2021. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership very much. And if you can, please give this video a like over on YouTube, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. With that being said, let's get right down to the recap. We kicked off Dynamite with CM Punk sitting in the ring. He did his old school introduction, talking about how he is drug-free, alcohol-free, straight edge, which means he's better than you. And he asked the fans if that sounded familiar. Of course, MJF says he's better than you when he knows it. CM Punk said that MJF tries to walk like him, tries to talk like him, but MJF cannot think like CM Punk. CM Punk said that he's actually proud of MJF for beating him in Chicago. But then CM Punk said with Jon Moxley's help, they won the match last week, which means CM Punk gets to dictate the terms for the rematch with MJF. And the terms are as follows. It will take place March 6th, Revolution, Orlando, Florida. And CM Punk also had a stipulation for this match. He talked about how there are all these different match types, and CM Punk brought up how MJF likes to call himself Roddy Piper in Portland. So therefore, CM Punk figured, well, how about a dog collar match? CM Punk versus MJF dog collar match. CM Punk asked the question, will MJF be his Valentine? Reference, of course, to the Greg Valentine versus Roddy Piper dog collar match from the very first Starrcade. CM Punk called out MJF. MJF walked out to the stage, and CM Punk had a photo. MJF is a kid posing with CM Punk. CM Punk said that at Revolution, it is going to be the worst day of MJF's life. And for CM Punk, it's just going to be another Sunday. And then CM Punk finished off his promo by saying that the mat is going to be stained with MJF's blood. And MJF, the guy usually has a lot to say, but for once, he was at a loss for words, and he just simply walked to the back. Nice segment here to set up the dog collar match. TJS, who some of you guys know as being a no DQ contributor, he told me what was the big deal about a dog collar match. I told him, have you seen Roddy Piper versus Greg Valentine? And he said no. And that told me all I needed to know. If you don't know what a dog collar match can do as far as the physicality, clearly you have not seen that Roddy Piper Greg Valentine match. Anyways, I liked the segment. And then we had our first match of the evening, Bryan Danielson versus Lee Moriarty. Melissa Joan Hart, a.k.a. Clarissa, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She was at ringside for this show, a Nashville local. Bryan Danielson has new music. Well, not really new music, but his music now has lyrics. And I cannot say I'm a fan of it. Just doesn't fit Bryan's character, in my opinion. So anyways, this was what you would expect from these guys. Bryan Danielson teaching a wrestling lesson to the young Lee Moriarty. Slapped him around quite a bit during this match. But Lee stayed in the fight. They traded some blows. Lee even got a near fall on Bryan. But Bryan, the veteran, pulled off the victory, hit the running knee, kicked his head in, and then finished him off with a triangle sleeper. After the match was over, Bryan Danielson got on the mic and said he wanted to teach Lee about violence. He asked the fans, did Lee pass or fail? And then when they responded, he said that's why he doesn't trust the American public with anything. And I think they were mainly cheering Lee for passing, but Bryan basically said that he's not there to talk about Lee. He's there to talk about Jon Moxley. Wants an answer if Jon Moxley is going to team up with him. Jon Moxley arrived, took his time getting to the ring. Not sure if he got lost or something, but then Moxley talked about how 10 years ago he was like Lee Moriarty. And he talked about how he always came up short against Bryan Danielson. But once Bryan Danielson came to AEW, Moxley felt like that was an opportunity to beat Bryan. Finally had a chance. But then Bryan made the offer for them to work together. And Moxley said that Bryan brought up a lot of good points, and it was hard to find a reason not to team up with him. But then wondered if maybe Bryan was a little scared. Maybe Bryan does not want to stand on the opposite side of the ring from Moxley, doesn't want to get destroyed. Moxley finished by saying that he's not saying yes, he's not saying no. He's going to leave it up to Bryan. But there's one thing Bryan needs to know. Jon Moxley will not stand with anybody unless he bleeds with them first, which I guess is basically saying we're going to fight if you want us to ever team up together. I'm thinking we're going to get that match at Revolution, Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley, and then maybe they will form a pact after that. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, good segment here. Good promo. Liked it. No issues. Hamp Kano with a $2 super chat says, I was hoping Clarissa would explain why Cody left. They did name drop Cody Rhodes. And by the way, I will talk about that tonight a little bit. We were going to save it for the No DQ review, which we're still going to talk about Cody on the No DQ review, but I will discuss it a little bit here after the end of this recap for Dynamite. So stay tuned. And by the way, if you guys are enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube and tell a friend. Share a link to this video. Anything you can do to spread the word would very much be appreciated. And I really liked Moxley's line at the end about not standing with anybody until he bleeds with them first. Good stuff there. We had a little Keith Lee vignette talking about the Face of the Revolution match. He has qualified, and he said this is the first step. He's going to win the ladder match or whatever it is. Yeah, Face of the Revolution ladder match. And then the third and final step will be to win the TNT Championship. We had Wardlow versus Max Caster. You guys pretty much knew going in, poor Max Caster was going to get his ass kicked. But he did use his chain while the referee wasn't looking. He hit the mic drop elbow, but Wardlow kicked out. Anthony Bowens got on the apron, but he ended up being knocked off the apron by Max Caster inadvertently. And then Wardlow did his thing that he does, the Powerbomb Symphony, and scored the victory. Another big reaction. Wardlow feels like early 1998 Bill Goldberg. Will it amount to something long term? I mean, the crowd seems to be reacting more and more to him with every passing week. And after the match was over, Shawn Spears was on the outside. Anthony Bowens attacked Wardlow. Shawn Spears wasn't doing anything, but Wardlow was able to get the upper hand on Bowens. And then after that was done, Shawn Spears got in the ring and took out both guys with the steel chair. We had Britt Baker backstage with Mercedes Martinez, and she said that Mercedes cannot be losing to Thunder Rosa in the the no DQ match that they had scheduled, and one of the guys from the Cobra Kai show was there. I do not watch the show, so I actually had no idea who he was. I had to go on Twitter to find the answer, and yes, he's from the Cobra Kai show, and I'm sure people will say in the chat, it's a great show, you got to watch it. Wasn't the biggest Karate Kid fan. I liked the first movie, and it was okay, but not really my cup of tea. So anyways, we'll quickly move on from that before I get all the hate messages. Probably still will. We had Tony Schiavone interviewing Hangman Adam Page. And before Page could really say anything, he was interrupted by Adam Cole. Adam Cole started praising Adam Page's title defenses. And by the way, there was a sign in the crowd that said Adam Cole has a dad bod. I wonder what that fan's body looks like, but I mean, that guy's not being paid to be on national television. Adam Page said that the AEW title is the only one that Adam Cole will never win. And Cole brought up their history going back to Ring of Honor. And he said that anytime they're in the same promotion, Page is considered to be the other Adam. Page got very offended by this. He did not like being referred to as the other Adam. And he wanted to fight, but then Cole tried to calm things down and said that one day they will clash and may the best man win. He offered a handshake. Page did not want the handshake, so Adam Cole walked away. However, it was a setup. You had Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, the Undisputed Era, attacking him from behind. Security ran down, and eventually the Dark Order ran down, and 10 went crazy, started beating up the security guards. Kind of a weird segment here. And yeah, I guess we're going to get Adam Cole versus Adam Page for the title. I presume at Revolution. Segment was all right, but yeah, it was kind of odd with the Dark Order running down and 10 just going crazy. I mean, whatever. We had Mercedes Martinez versus Thunder Rosa. And this was right around 9:20, almost the 9:30 time period when the women get their match. And this was a pretty solid match, although there were a few moments that looked scary. Like, we'll get to that in a minute here. So Mercedes Martinez had a pipe. Thunder Rosa had a chair. Thunder Rosa got the early upper hand. They fought in the crowd. And then the first scary moment, Thunder Rosa got on the barricade and she was wobbling. She almost fell, but she managed to jump off with a crossbody off the barricade. And they got back in the ringside area. Mercedes, another scary moment here. Mercedes with a suplex off the apron. There was a table set up, and the table really didn't break. And it looked like Mercedes got the worst of that one. They got back in the ring. Mercedes hit a spider German suplex. Oh, and I forgot about Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. I will get to that, Michael Wayne. Michael Wayne is very quick to point out any mistake I make, whether it's on Twitter or here on the video. Michael Wayne is always there to call me out on my mistakes. So we'll get to the Jericho match here in just a moment. I skipped over the match in my notes for some reason. Mercedes hit the German suplex, the spider German suplex, and then she went for an elbow, and she kind of slipped doing the elbow drop. Looked kind of nasty. Rosa kicked out of that and then hit the Fire Thunder driver onto a stack of chairs to pick up the victory. A good no DQ match here. Little bit scary at times, some of these spots, but it was a good match. Entertaining to watch. And then afterwards, Thunder Rosa helped up Mercedes Martinez, and that's when Britt Baker arrived. She asked the Cobra Kai guy for advice, and he said to finish off Thunder Rosa. Jamie Hayter and Rebel attacked Rosa from behind. Britt Baker grabbed the pipe. She handed the pipe over to Mercedes Martinez, but Mercedes hesitated, and that hesitation was enough for Jamie Hayter to attack Mercedes Martinez as well, and both Thunder Rosa and Mercedes were laid out by the DMD Club or whatever their group is. I'm not sure if they even have a group name. All right, so now we're going to backtrack here. This was actually a little bit earlier. We had Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus Santana and Ortiz. Chris Jericho is looking pretty slim these days. I got to give the guy credit. He's looking maybe in the best shape he's been in since he joined AEW. Santana and Ortiz had the returning Eddie Kingston, who was injured for several weeks. He was back, and he was in the corner of Santana and Ortiz. They worked over Jericho for a while. Hager got the upper hand for a while, but then Santana and Ortiz managed to hit the street sweeper to Jericho, but Jericho kicked out of that. Jericho got the walls of Jericho on Santana. However, Santana got to the rope. And then Eddie Kingston got up on the apron, so Jericho took him down. And for some reason, JR said that it was an unprovoked attack. I guess there's no problem with somebody getting on the apron, according to Jim Ross. Jericho went for the Judas effect, but missed. And then Santana pinned Jericho with the discus lariat. Yes, Santana and Ortiz pick up the victory over Jericho and Jake Hager. And Jake Hager hasn't really been doing much lately. He just seems like a guy in the background. And now it looks like Santana and Ortiz are aligned with Eddie Kingston, and they're moving away from the inner circle. Hamp Connell with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, whoever put me in timeout, I got 2 words for you. Well, it was not me, Hamp Connell. I'm not sure who put you in timeout, but I don't even know what you said to justify going into timeout. We had our main event of the evening, and just as a reminder, I will be talking about Cody Rhodes here in a few moments. We had Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. They had the sportsmanship, and the crowd was very into this, doing the dueling chants, and went back and forth. Sammy hit a Spanish fly, but was unable to make the cover right away. And then Sammy was able to go for the GTH. However, Darby Allin countered that and hit a stunner. Sammy Guevara went to the outside of the ring. Darby went for a dive, but Sammy caught him with a cutter. And then you had Darby laid out on the apron. Sammy went for a swanton, but Darby moved. And then Darby was able to get the upper hand. He went for the coffin drop, but all of a sudden we had Jose, who is with the Hardy family office, or the Andrade Hardy family office, whatever it's called. Jose was on the apron, and Sting attacked him. An unprovoked attack by Sting to Jose. And while all this was going on, Andrade attacked Darby Allin with the tablet. Sammy Guevara, just took advantage of the situation, won with the GTH, the go to hell. And then afterwards, Matt Hardy attacked Darby Allin. Andrade attacked Sammy Guevara from behind with the tablet. And then Andrade grabbed both the interim TNT title and the actual TNT title, held them both up, and Dynamite went off the air. Of course, you have Andrade proclaiming himself to be the next TNT champion. Let's see here. Hemp Connell with a $2 super chat says, I called you a loser for not watching Cobra Kai. Oh, well, in that case, the ban was totally justified. Anyways, show was very good. Very entertaining Dynamite, good promos, good matches, pretty solid show. I would definitely recommend it. Probably a B or maybe a B plus. Very solid show. I enjoyed it very much. Now, the big news this week, and it's pretty significant. Cody Rhodes is no longer with AEW. He is officially gone. His contract did expire several weeks ago, start of the year, and he was working without a contract for a few weeks. But yeah, he is gone. And I am very surprised. I did not think that Cody Rhodes was going to leave AEW. Seems like WWE is making him a big offer, and that's why he's leaving, and he's going to go back to WWE. It's pretty crazy that an EVP, somebody who helped found AEW, is gone, and he will be the first real jump from AEW to WWE, and it's about as big of a jump as possible. I mean, other than like Kenny Omega jumping or the Young Bucks, I mean, this is as big as it gets. Cody Rhodes helped start AEW. A lot of people are wondering, will Cody succeed in WWE? Will they actually push him strongly this time? You would think so. I would think that Cody is going to be pushed very strongly because WWE wants to send a message. If Cody succeeds this second go around, that's going to tell people in AEW that they might be better off in WWE. I think that Vince, if he's smart, and he is smart, he wants Cody to be the biggest deal possible. So other AEW stars, when their contracts are up, they're going to be like, hey, Cody Rhodes left and he became a top guy in WWE. Maybe I can too. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hamp Connor with a $5 super chat says, I hope he negotiated a good contract because if not, he'll be on NXT as Stardust or chasing the 24/7 title. I don't think that's going to happen, but I get it. I know a lot of people are very skeptical of WWE, and some people think, well, Vince is just going to hire Cody, throw a bunch of money at him to get him away from AEW, and then they're going to do nothing with him. But I'm going to have some confidence that Cody will do well, and it's not going to be Stardust 2.0. He's actually going to be pushed as a top guy. You would have to think that Vince respects somebody like Cody for going off on his own. Look at Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre left. Company really saw no value in him. He went off and did his own thing and made a name for himself. And I think that gained him a lot of respect from Vince and the people in charge of WWE. And I think the same thing happened with Cody. Cody went, bet on himself, made himself a superstar, helped establish AEW, became a legitimate draw, which is something you can't say about a lot of wrestlers. Big Vito thinks that he will get buried. We'll see. I mean, Vito was in WWE, so he knows how this whole thing goes. I'm going to have some ray of hope that it will work out for him. City by the Bay sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, any AEW talent will just get buried in WWE. So see, a lot of people don't have much confidence that Cody will be used properly. I'm holding out hope, though. But we will be talking more about this coming up on the No DQ review. I'm sure we'll have a lot of different opinions about Cody Rhodes. So I urge you all to tune in. I'm sure Virtue will have a lot to say. We're going to have a full panel coming up. I think 5 people. We'll be talking about Cody Rhodes. Big rumor about Steve Austin. Will he be at WrestleMania? That remains to be seen. I think he'll be there in some capacity. Will he wrestle? It's one of those scenarios where I'll believe it when I see it. But we are going to talk about that. It's crazy. We're just into February, and we have these major stories. And Cody Rhodes leaving AEW, at least right now, sounds like the biggest story of 2022. Like, I can't imagine something bigger. But we'll have to see how things play out. Certainly some interesting developments as we get into WrestleMania season, the full-blown road to WrestleMania. We've got Elimination Chamber coming up, and don't forget, I will be doing the live results coverage on Saturday. Stay tuned for that. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate your viewership and support. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com. We had our biggest day of traffic on Tuesday since SummerSlam. It's been busy, a lot going on. I thank you guys again. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay tuned. And all I can say is say yes to NoDQ.com. Take care, everybody.